Hola Madrid, hello everyone. Hi, welcome to Microsoft 365 Virtual at Madrid. Oh yes, I'm so missing it to be there. I would have loved to travel to Madrid, but here I am in my apartment virtually. All thanks and no thanks to COVID. But hope you're all being safe. Hope you're all at home. Take care of yourself and your family. Uh, So welcome to the event. Myself, Manpreet Singh. I will be talking about Microsoft Graph Connectors. Let's go ahead and let me share my screen with you. The bad part of being virtual is I can't ask, are you able to see my screen? Like because it's being a recording now. So yes, I hope you are seeing my screen. And everybody today, on the 11th of November, you're gonna be the part of the session. Go to hashtag M365 MAD virtual and tweet about the event, about what you have learned, about what you have want to learn, because it helps the organizers to know what are we missing, what can we add more, and for the agenda and things like that. So after coming to that, I will be introducing today Microsoft Graph Connectors. Myself, Manpreet Singh. I am a technology specialist at Cognizant. I'm also an MVP at Office Servers and Services. I'm also an MVP at C Sharp Community. And very super easy to find me in social platform is Manpreet here. That's my name, and here I'm here for you. Yes. But skipping my joke apart, visit the tech platform for more videos, more learning, more virtual learnings. Today we are gonna talk about is Microsoft Graph. Excited? You should be. It's gonna be amazing. So I'm gonna close down my video. It's not required. We're gonna learn virtually. So yeah, I hate sometimes because I love to have a interaction, ask questions, which again you can do it any day, anytime. Just reach out to me in my social platforms, and I will be there for you. So today we are going to talk about the Microsoft Graph. Like Microsoft Graph, everybody has been talking. It's famous, right? Is it something like a graph, like a Power BI reporting, or is it something like on Excel, or is it on some Power presentation? No, Microsoft Graph is a technology for us to connect an endpoint, APIs. Nah, you don't understand? Don't worry. Today we're gonna see it live. As I said, not a theoretical speaker. I'm gonna show you live demos. We're gonna work through together, and it's simple demos. I also want you to do it when I am showing it to you, so it's an easy learning for both of us, you and me, and we learn together. Nice. So let's go to my other screen. So today's agenda, what I'm going to cover is to know about WWW of Microsoft Graph. Like, what is Microsoft Graph? Like, what, where, and why is a question when we don't know anything and we want to know things. I think this is the one which comes up in our mind, right? And what is Graph API? What Graph API does, and what is Graph Explorer, and why is it connected to PowerShell and Postman? Don't worry, I told you, it's gonna be a lively session, and I won't be able to answer you right now, but please post your questions. I will answer them on the social platforms, and let's go with it. Let's start our session. So, as I said, the WWW, the what, where, and why. I think everybody has this thing right inside them, like what it does, what is a thing going on, what is Graph Explorer, and things like that. I just want to make sure my recording is in progress, and I see yes, it is in progress. Perfect. So let's go ahead. Microsoft Graph. So Microsoft Graph is nothing but an API which you can use to connect all Microsoft platforms through one single endpoint. Easy language, right? I'm not gonna go to the deep language. So for example, I have Outlook, SharePoint, OneDrive, Planner, to-do list, calendars, Exchange server, and I want to do some operations in them. How do we normally do? Like for example, SharePoint, what do we used to do before? We'll call a web service and update the server side or client side code and do my updates. But now it's not required. Yep, you just call an endpoint and you do the same operation with lesser number of codes and actually a better number of codes. So it's gonna be super easy, super quick. You post the result, you get result, like the data walkthrough, everything can be managed because of Microsoft Graph. So like it's just a connectivity between your data, your model, and your platform. So how it works is like Microsoft Graph provides an API, which is a single endpoint, a perfect super centric data exposed with all Microsoft 365, like everywhere. Any part of the any product of Microsoft 365 will be connected to Graph API. So it's like you're using REST API and SDKs, right? It's the same way, which you can use to build applications. You can use to build your own platform for your company, education, just name it. You can do it for all these level of purposes. And the best part of it is all identity, access, compliance, security is applied the similar way you have applied on your 365 tenant. So in a way, you are having something really secured model, and you are updating throughout that model between applications and switching applications. All can be done using Microsoft Graph Connectors. Now, what's Graph Connectors? Okay, like okay, for the name connectors, when you're connecting something, right? Okay, I can understand. And it's a Microsoft product, so what will you be able to connect? You will be able to connect SharePoint with OneDrive, OneDrive with Outlook, Outlook with Exchange. What if I say with the connector, you can connect n number of third parties like workplaces, Box, Google Suites, all the enterprise models, all the enterprise CRMs, connect to any content portals and get the data, write the data, read write both in one single line of API. Now that brings your excitement, right? How can you do that? Like I'm searching a word in Microsoft, like for example SharePoint, or I'm searching a data in OneDrive, Outlook, and it's actually not only result giving me the result from SharePoint or OneDrive or any Microsoft products, it's actually gonna give me a result from Google also, Share or Box also, or any other third-party platform without even me logging in there using Graph API, right? I know it's a little difficult, and do follow me. I do a lot of sessions on Graph Connectors. You will be able to see how actually the Microsoft Graph Connectors work. And with that, we have the Data Connect, which Microsoft, again, the Data Connect is Data Connect. To what, like, for example, you can connect your data servers from Azure to development tools and make your applications amazingly powerful. Like Azure connectivity without much AD configuration, all Active Directory enabled. What else you require? Nice, right? So why Microsoft Graph? Now I'm not gonna go to the count like 90% of people are using it and 200 million active users. I think these are very old numbers. I think it's very vast. The number nobody knows. It's so much vast. The best part of Graph is it has rich context. From passing through one single endpoint, the result which I get is really rich in context. Like it provides deep insight, real-time updates because it's an API. Of course, it will have a real-time update, and it has a broader reach. As I said, Office 365 Azure is just a part of it. You can actually connect to any content management portal in the world. When I say in the world, I actually really mean it. If that content management portal has open APIs and it's open source model, yes, you can connect it with your Graph Explorer. Excited as you are, I am more while presenting this to you. So, how Microsoft Graph works is this is the architecture diagram of it. So, for example, you have a 365 application with SharePoint, document, portal, timeline, and all those things. You have an experience which you actually normally build, like bots, virtual agents, and native devices, custom apps, and all those things on the Office 365. Pardon me. And they're all connected through your graph with your solution. Now, how I'll tell you. You have, for example, a connected data source, okay? And I have my connect data source at SQL. Let's keep SQL online, okay? And I have my UI SharePoint. And what is Microsoft Graph doing now? Okay, so what I'm going to do is my UI built-in portal with your bot is taking value and storing the same on Azure database and vice versa is reading from there and giving you the result. all will be monitored with enterprise mobility and security, which we call as Microsoft Identity, and all mapped with the Microsoft Graph. So now when it comes to REST APIs and webhooks, they're all perfect, but they're all part of the Azure. And when you come to Microsoft Graph, it gives you single, as I said, single simple endpoint, and you can get n number of results. Don't worry, we're gonna see that on this go, and you will realize how easy it is with the model to work on. Okay, so let's go here. So as I was talking about, the Graph API is a gateway for Azure, Excel, Intune, Outlook. Actually, the list keeps growing. I have stopped updating it because the list is never ending. Microsoft is always bringing in something new and adding it to the product for you, for making it easier. You can do the code in any of these languages: Android, Angular, ASP.NET, iOS, Java, JavaScript, Node, PHP, Python. There is no ending to it, as I said. Write it down in any language you are comfortable with. So let's talk about Graph Explorer. Yes, you know what is Microsoft Graph now, but what is Graph Explorer? So when Microsoft launched Graph, people like, how will you go and test your graph, Microsoft Graph, whether your APIs are working or not? Like normally in real time, we'll use Postman and all the other applications for testing APIs, but you know Microsoft, they will give you something to test around with. They can't leave you like that. So, so they gave you Graph Explorer. So Graph Explorer is nothing but a web-based model, a web interface for exploring your APIs. It's like a sandbox solution for developers and to see or debug what kind of API you're passing through and get the code from JSON, C Sharp, any format and use it. You won't believe that you can take a code from there? I will show it to you, don't worry. It's demo time, as I said, no theoretical. I will walk you through and we will go together and you can also do the same with me. So I'm gonna cut it down. I'm gonna open the any browser and right now the Chrome is open for me, so I'll just browser here. So I'm opening Graph Explorer. So just Google Graph Explorer, you will land up here. That's it, so simple. Just don't do anything. Microsoft Graph Explorer, log in to your Google and just log in. On the left side, you will have an option of signing in. I have signed in with my tenant. Just sign in with your tenant. Even if you're on a corporate tenant, that doesn't matter. You will only be able to see what you have access on. Okay, so don't have to worry. Oh my God, somebody will see my data. No, nobody is gonna see your data, or you have no access. You will not be able to see anybody's data. So it works like that way. So if you see, this is the playground for graph developers. This is the API, web API reference, which I was talking about. In here, you have an option to request, get, post, put, patch, delete. You have versions. So now what is version? Like when you're calling an HTTP method, why you're calling a version? Because graph is something new. V 1.0 is the one which is like globally, I think it's allowed or active APIs. And globally, oh yeah, I really got stuck on that. Okay, and the beta ones and the ones which are still in progress, they are launched for you. You can actually use it, but the stability of the API will differ. But don't worry, there are already tons of APIs available for you us to play around. Okay, and then here comes the resource. What resource am I referring to? So this is my HTTP method I'm calling. This is my version I'm calling. And this is what I'm calling is resource. Resource is like me. I want to know about me. I can see there is me logged in here. So let's run a query, simple query. So when I go and search myself, I see my display name here, I see my given name here, the job title, the mail, the mobile number, and etc. etc. So when I just pass one single endpoint, which is v1 point the version or and slash me, that's it. I got all the details of my profile, like it's like me profile coming up there. And when I go to response header, I see the cache control, the content length. And the best part is here, you can copy the snippet. It's the same one. For example, I'm working on a graph connector and this API endpoint worked for me. Just click on code snippet and copy the C sharp code if you're writing, go ahead, copy it. JavaScript if you're writing, copy it. Java you're writing, copy the Java. Objective C if you're writing, copy it. Simply. So I always say people like those were the days when we used to code. Now it's copy paste, but you should know from where you're copying and to where you're pasting. Okay, it gives you a toolkit component as a graphical background, but okay, I won't go there. And the best part is it gives you adaptive cards. Now, why adaptive cards? Like everywhere, adaptive card is a fashion. Like right now, when I actually ask my users, they want adaptive cards to come on emails, in team chat, and this and that. Like I'm like, okay, why? Because it looks extensively beautiful, and if you see my screen, it's aligned in properly, right? I think that's important, right? It should be the UI should be that much glamorous that you can actually copy. And again, copy this adaptive card and use it. So what do we see here? What are we actually passing here? Okay, there's a response message which we pass, and there is a request body which we pass. There are keys headers. Okay, right now when I file my details, I get my given name, surname, job title, office location, email. Actually, I can actually have key variables who can store my values. I don't have to get everything from that API. Again, the next part is modify the permission. So I'm the tenant, right? Okay, and I'm trying to get an API for my application I'm building in. I don't have to go back to Azure and give me access to SharePoint. I can actually just ask for a consent here. If I click on consent, it's gonna open the Active Directory or it's gonna open the Azure and allow me to consent my application right on the go here in front of you. And you see I got consented. Now if I'm doing using those properties, I can actually be like, for example, I write it what directory access as user.all. Now I can access my user directory without actually asking my tenant, going to the tenant and giving myself access to the directory. It's that simple. So to be honest, this was never a part of it, okay? Like Graph Explorer was super basic when it came with like 5-7 commands, like 4 to 5 products, which very minimal, no options to consent, no options of code snippets. This is like evolving, and you know when we as Microsoft evolve, we evolve amazing. So next to me, and so this is one data like okay we found monthly thing. It's very minimal data. It's not giving me n number of pages. You can have paginations of data, all the code and get it posted. So what am I doing here right now is if you see, I'm getting reading the data from the resource. I can post the reader like resource data or I can post it in the platform. I can patch with new values. I can replace a new one using put and I can delete. Of course I can delete it. So if you see this request to determine what you want to do is all available in your API and Graph Explorer. So I don't have to use any third-party platform to actually explore my Graph Explorer. And that's why I said it's free, it's a web interface. Everyone go to graphexplorer.com and you will be able to see all the results. So okay, I clicked on Graph My Profile, okay. Okay, like for example, I can see it. And you using your organization and you want to check something, and if you don't have access, you will get this access denied. You don't have permission to access the mail of my tenant. Fair, right? It should be because you are not a tenant owner. You can request for a permission, but I don't think anybody will grant you. But at least you can play around all the options. Similar way, let's go to Microsoft Teams. So if you see all these products on the end, there are n number of products I can use it with. And my favorite teams, I think everyone's favorite now, Microsoft Teams. So if I click on Microsoft Teams, it's gonna tell me all the, let me come here, response preview, all the teams I'm a part of, like what are the teams I have joined in. Every teams comes in. Similar way, I can use the same code snippet from here and get results of slash time me joining. So this is my resource. Okay, this is the HTTP call I did, and my version and mine is like me is like my profile and the join team. All the teams I have joined in will come here. Similar way, if I'm a member of a team, it can go and check in and tell you whether it's true or false. It can go and tell you apps in a team, all the tabs in a team, and these beta. Okay, so if you see the things written in beta, which means they are initiated, but they're a not stable platform. But yeah, they're almost working. And if you see OneDrive, OneNote, Outlook, Calendar, name it, and we already have it. Let's go back to SharePoint. We are all SharePoint lovers, and so I'm gonna get my SharePoint. So what am I getting here? Site, I'm getting a root site of my tenant. And what it gives me? It gives me my root site. The name of the site is communication site. And on the adaptive card also I'll have a preview. It is loading and I'll have my code snippet in all C Sharp, JavaScript, Java and Objective-C. So if I have to write an application code, I can just copy my C Sharp code here and use it to call my Graph Explorer. Nice, right? But okay, for example, if there's no Graph Explorer, what will you do? Any I know you can't respond me back, but yeah, I'm sorry. You will say there are APIs, there are open API source platforms which you can use. For example, Postman, yes, it does the same thing. And we are going to see the same thing. How about Graph Explorer? Okay, now you know Graph Explorer. You can do a C Sharp, JavaScript, Java, Object-C code. Okay, I know I don't have to do a client side, server side, all those kind of codings to update a product. For example, I want to update an item in SharePoint. I don't have to do all those things. Those were the old days, as I always say. So if you see SharePoint list, get the list columns, get the list columns. Yes, you have user activity. You can create user activity. You can create records in Planner, post, patch, delete, all update a planner task, or in an Outlook email, send an email, Outlook calendar, get all your calendar information, use it in your application, Power App, Dynamics, all part of it. But what do I say you if other than calling it on a code, you can actually do it in a PowerShell? All this operation you can actually do in PowerShell. Let's go to PowerShell here. I know we all love PowerShell. I definitely love PowerShell. I feel PowerShell is when I code PowerShell, I feel okay. This is what I am gonna code. So let's talk about PowerShell. We all know PowerShell is commandless, okay, and n number of commands and quick operations. I don't have to write a console application, load my Visual Studio, which will take 3 to 4 minutes, and go ahead with my task. PowerShell, right quickly, just get connected and do your activities right away. Fun for graph developers. It's much more faster. Why? I'll tell you. It's a one-time process to log in, get connected, and use it. I think I have connected with my laptop for a year now, and I'm using it for a year now without authenticating. It's dangerous, but of course we are developers. Little danger is allowed, right? So yes, the minions are back, taking us all to the demo. So I'm gonna show you quick demos here. I have already saved some line of code, so I don't have much effort here. So I'm gonna go to PowerShell and I'm gonna run it as an administrator. It's asking me to yes, and it's loading in. So let's load in here. Okay, so I'm gonna share the cheat codes in the slides. You don't have to worry. The cheat codes will be available. I will also show it on the screen, so you can just pause the screen and run those things. So what ideally you should require is open a PowerShell. Like if you see I have opened a Windows PowerShell on my administrative rights, it's fine. If you don't have administrative right, use it on your personal laptop. It's totally fine. So the first thing I do is I go in there and I install module Microsoft Graph. One line of code, like as I said, you can pause it and use it because it's a recording and use it and run it. Install module. So I've already installed. I'm not gonna use it again because it's gonna take like 4 to 5 minutes, and these conferences are like 45 to 50 minutes, and I really don't want to go ahead with that. Sometimes I feel like there should be a workshop where we can go ahead and keep on speaking and keep on learning, and we do that sometimes. Yes. So what my command is, once you install, click on Connect Graph Scopes. Okay, and click on enter. And like I'll just gonna see if I'm connected or not. It's gonna ask when you do the first time, it's gonna ask you an Open Explorer and ask you to log in and sign in with your tenant's ID, and that's it. Once you are successfully entered, it's gonna ask you, actually, it's gonna say you, welcome to Microsoft Graph, right? And if you don't trust yourself and this message, probably Manpreet would have just wrote a command to just show that message. You can actually run a command to get all the installed modules under Microsoft Graph. So let's run this and see what are all the graph modules I have it here. Here you go. So I have from calendar to booking to education to finance to groups to mail to notes. Okay, I'm not going to speak that. I'm sorry. All the products of Microsoft Graph, all the modules come and get installed on your local machines. Okay, you don't have to call it every single time when you're using PowerShell. That's why I told you I love PowerShell. Let's see the licenses involved in there. Okay, everybody has this issue of what are the licenses I'm using and things like that. So it tells you all the licenses, all the different command types, and all the functions here. You can revoke. Like for example, you can give me the license or revoke my license, sync my license, update my license, all kind of activities through PowerShell. How about Outlook tasks? Okay, like so right now, for example, okay, let me talk about license. So I want to give you a license. I don't have to go to tenant and go and search for a small icon there and search for licenses. I can just assign your license or revoke your license or remove your license directly from here using a single command. Easy, right? Similar way on the Outlook level. So many commands on an Outlook level. Like for example, I want to create an Outlook task. I want to create an Outlook task folder. I want to create a task group, task assignments, folder tasks, attachments, everything, all the functions. Just call those simple functions and you will be able to do the same on the PowerShell. So it's just copy. I can just copy it and paste it and just put the parameters and it will go through. How about teams? Are all favorites? What are the commands available in the teams here? Okay, I thought I lost it. Okay, yes, yeah. I should go full screen, I guess. Yeah. Small is fine. Okay, so if you see all the functions of getting, I can create a new team, I can create a new channel, I can add a new member, I can add a new message, I can keep on adding tabs, ID, member, operations. So many you can get, you can receive. So if you, for example, when we build applications, right? For example, I want to make a bot for governance. A bot is gonna take inputs and gonna create a channel or create teams. I don't want to go every single time and go and create teams, create channel, add the members, remove the members. As I again said, those were the old days. We have to be smart developer. You input all the parameters, you use the command from Microsoft Graph, and you create a group of people, you create channels, you create teams, all through here. You can make it public, private, assign the owner, assign the tabs. Like by default, you're gonna have tabs, template, schedule time offs, use bookings. Oh man, you can do actually a lot of things, and it keeps on growing. As I'm talking, there will be something new added up, a new function by Microsoft any day, anytime they release it that faster. So as I was saying, those were the days when like if I search for Teams, I'll have like 7 to 8 commands and which you might not even be using it. Like mostly it'll be for reading files. But now they have almost everything and they're still adding it to the list. So these commands are very important for doing PowerShell. And it's like as I said, one line PowerShell, you get what you want. How about SharePoint? Our beloved SharePoint. Okay, like for example, I'm gonna ask for what's my root site on this tenant. Okay, and I'm getting my root site on my tenant currently. So my Graph Explorer goes to my tenant, checks my tenant, and gives me a root site on my SharePoint. I didn't have to go and open SharePoint and search for my root ID or root site. It's taking a minute because it's going to Azure, and there it is. My site is here, my ID is there, and the display name of the site is also there. So if you see, all the details come in automatically. For example, I want to know the side. Like I already know my root side is communication here. Passing a parameter here. Like I told you, I love PowerShell. I can spend as much time on PowerShell because, as I said, PowerShell is what makes it faster for us to do our operations. And compared to a console application, which I will sit and launch and write, everything can be done. I got my communication side. I got the web URL on the side. I can, if I had description, I would have actually got that also. Similar way, if I want to have the ID of a site or things like that, getting document libraries, updating document libraries, all the things. How about team chat? Okay, like can I get a chat of people? Like I know it's illegal, but you're an organization and corporate. You can get the chat you did with people. For example, I lost something, an important conversation. I can get my chat from where and in-house. I can actually get values of parameter. Right now, it's all blank data. You can actually assign parameters like when was the meeting held, and I'm looking for this, and that will give you an end-to-end result. This is the power of PowerShell. Excited, loving it till now? Yes. So for example, if you want to go to create a team, don't go to Teams and create a team. Go to a Graph Explorer, use this command and create a team for a change. It's gonna be fun. Don't worry, you're not gonna destroy your tenant. They have already taken care of that. But this is how you learn, right? And this is how we all learn. And as I was saying, all the cheat sheets will be provided. Don't have to worry. Or like I have put the commands while running. You can pause your screens and run those commands. You will learn how to run them. I think that's how important it is. And because while you do, you learn. If you just see, I don't think we remember. And that's why I always try to make my presentation much more doable while I'm doing it, so that we all follow up together. Okay, and so I was talking about, so first time when you install Microsoft Graph, the modules, and when you try to connect, it's gonna open up like this, the authentication page. It's gonna ask you, Microsoft Graph PowerShell wants is requesting permission. You click on the consent button and you approve it. Simple. So I'm giving a read write access, directory, read write, read all group, read all write, like etc. 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 A simple way to connect, right? So let's come up here for my next screen. So okay, so what did we do till here? Okay, let me come up in my video. Sometimes I should see myself, right? And you should see me, what I'm talking about. Here I am. Hi. So what did we do till now? We know what is Microsoft Graph. That's not a diagram or a Power BI report. Microsoft Graph is an API endpoint solution for all our daily activities. Second, what we did was, instead of doing our operations of API through console applications or through any other web platforms or coding, we can use PowerShell to do simple application. You can do the same in console application. You can do the same in PowerShell. You can do the same in server-side code, client-side code. Keep like call the Graph Explorer the endpoint, and you know what you have it there. Okay, but now a whole world uses something called as Postman, right? Why? Because that helps you to know your API better. I totally agree with that. So, because of the Postman, when Microsoft launched its own APIs, they wanted their own product, and which was came as Graph Explorer, to where you can explore all the APIs. But Postman and other companies, they already have this platform which they allow you to check post your APIs. So it doesn't matter if you check your Graph Explorer, sorry, Graph APIs in Explorer or the Postman, you can do the both the same. But the Graph Explorer is already connected to your Active Directory, your tenant, and all those things. It's easier to connect. You just sign in, and I was able to get both post result, get my queries. It was easy, right? And I was able to test it easily than uh, console application. But how about Postman? Let's do it. I'm watching time. I think I don't even know what time. Okay. I'm short with time. Let me see, my recording is running. Yes, my recording is running. So let's talk about Postman. Okay, so everybody is very aware of what Postman does. If not, don't worry, it's just a platform for API developments. API means Postman. It's that amazing. And I love working on it because, okay, so Graph Explorer is there. I would say that that's an issue. As I said, it's much more easy to work on Graph Explorer, but if I want to like streamline my APIs with third-party platforms like Google Box, I will require Postman because Graph Explorer won't allow it. But yes, Graph Explorer will allow you to explore Microsoft Graph, and Postman will allow you to explore not only Microsoft Graph but also all different platforms. So that's where all the call is, and that's where everything starts at. So let's launch the Postman, and as I said, it's demo time. Let's go demo. My minions are always ready for demo. Like they don't want to spend much effort on the theoretical knowledge, and I think that's doable, right? Okay, it takes some time, and I see it on my task manager as been launched, but I can't see it, so it should be coming in any minute. So by that time, I will just ask you to go ahead, play around with Graph Explorer, play because Postman comes a little later. It's a little tricky. I want to show you how. It's not that tricky. It's the same thing, but Graph Explorer, you just have to sign in. And here I see my Postman icon out here. And I'll go back closing my video to have a streamline better. I don't know, like we at Virtual Network and we using Teams or Cisco or WebEx, while we record with the video, there is a little lag. Whatever you do, you can. So to avoid that, I'm just switching off my video, and it's okay. My face is not that handsome, and but the technology is so. So it's showing me preparing your workspaces. This might take a few minutes. It should not take a few minutes. It should be very quick, and almost there. Okay. But yeah, I was talking about the conferences nowadays. Like, so we are all virtual, and it's easy, right? We are learning a lot. There have been conferences like Madrid. They are doing so amazing work, and we can all learn some new stuff from everyone, right? As I was still talking, if you ask me a question, I will not say no. Well, I will. If I don't know, I'll actually go and find it out for you and for myself. And then when I tell you, you also learn, I also learn. A similar way, I will have a doubt and I might ask you. So it's a give and take process, and that's how we all learn. Like, and I always say, keep reading and keep learning. And now it's like, keep watching and keep learning. It's so different. Okay, here's my postman. It's loaded. Or maybe still loading. It's still loading. Yeah. You might be able to see my postman. All in here, yes. So I was already using Graph here, so I have already this collection, but I'll tell you how to do that, okay? Don't worry about that. Just install Postman, okay? I don't have much time, so or else I would have shown you the steps, but or else the organizers are gonna kill me or they're gonna not. So I'm gonna kill this. So just import. I'm gonna put this in my cheat sheets. I have updated all the code repository on my deck. So when I finish this explanation, I'm gonna show you the link. Pause that, open GitHub, and import. It's super simple. Import. Click on the link and use the link which I'm gonna post. Sorry, yeah. So I just unmuted myself. Amazing. Okay, so good. And then just put that and click on continue. It will import all the files here. What's the difference here is? No difference. Okay, so you are gonna see all the Microsoft Graph application, Teams, user, SharePoint, mail, everything in a similar way. So it doesn't actually make something new or add something new. It's the same thing. See, you can see all the things. It just if you want to check API postman, like for as I said, Microsoft gives you an access to a Graph Explorer for its own API. It's not for any external. But if you are a Postman Pro and you love working, and I want to show you how to do it. As I said, just import the files here. You just have to do one step extra. So normally, Graph Explorer, you sign in, right? And you sign into the Graph Explorer, and when you sign in, it takes your SSO and tenant and bypasses all the authentication, and whatever you have access to, it shows up. But in Postman, it doesn't know what you have access or what you have access. So what you have to do is one step ahead, go to Microsoft Azure. So you have to log into Azure. Let me show it that to you right now. Okay, give me 1 second. Here you are. So I'm gonna go to Azure. portal.azure.com. I'll be logging it to my tenant and I'm gonna just create an app ID. So you have to go in, click an app ID, use the client ID, use the secret. So it's like just register an app. It's super simple, and you will be able to get all your details from here. So click on app registration. If you see I have one of them here. I'm gonna click on the same one, grab. Just create a graph and use the client ID, the tenant ID, and the API token, like the secret client ID, which is here. Just create a new client ID. These are the three things you require. That's it. Okay. And what do you have to do it? Like just create an environment. Right now, this is an environment here. So I'm just going to the environment here. I already have. I'm gonna edit this. It's a little slow. Okay, here you are. So if you see, I have created an environment. I just call it a graph demo, and I'm just passing client ID, client secret, and tenant ID. That's it. That's all you have to pass in. And access token, which you're gonna get it from the postman, just copy the same and update, and you will be able to run the parameters the same way we were running there. Like you will send the request and get the result in the response in the authorization. So it's just a one step because Postman is not part of the Active Directory of Microsoft. But when you use Graph Explorer, you sign in as an Active Directory member, and that helps you to be part of it. You don't need client ID, client secret tenant ID. It just uses your tenant ID and client app ID from your profile. But when you're using Postman, do the client ID, client secret tenant ID, and access token, and then you can do the same thing. Users join the team, get the team channel. Like for example, I'm getting all the sites here on my version. Again, so I'm calling my method. You have more here. Like you have more like copy head options, link, unlink. Again, as I said, if you're using a collaboration with a third-party platform, you will definitely require it. You'll call your web, but what you're calling is the graph.microsoft.com. You're calling the version. You can also call the beta if you're using a beta version, and then you can keep on calling what kind of resource are you want. And if I see, these are the list of resources I have, and it never ends. As I said, you can keep on updating and it keeps on getting updated. That's it. Okay, so what we see using Postman is the same thing what you're gonna see from Graph Explorer. It's just for the people who work with Postman and they are more comfortable with it. Please go ahead, and it's super simple. Just one step is to load the collection, and the second step is the get an app registered. And again, Azure, if you're using it, won't be charged. Just log in with your 200 free credits. Do it. Okay, like just use those credits. And if you're actually doing something on a research work, Microsoft sometimes give you again another 200 credits. So I think those things are good. And if you're a student, you have a very good feature, Azure. Please go ahead as a student account, and you will get a lot of benefits. So that's what happened when you use Graph Explorer in PowerShell or in Postman or in the Graph Explorer. That's the power of Graph API. And this is a cheat sheet. I'm just giving a pause for 5 seconds, and you can always pause the video and use it. Okay, I know I'm crossing the time limit here, but questions, as I said, go ahead. If you don't understand here something, come back to me. Find me in all the social platforms. Just search Manpreet here, and I will be there for you. I know it's a bad line. I always love using it, but yes. So please go ahead, do that. Ask me any question. You didn't understand how this works. I can actually come and have a meeting with you, quick meeting, and tell you what to do, where to do. There's a lot of data in the internet, but again, as I said, feel much more like kind of a learned when I'm seeing a demo than on a theoretical basis. So that's why. And please share your feedback with the team. It will be amazing. And you can. And the best part is see the conference on November 11, 2020, and you are gonna win a lot of raffle. And I think I will go for Nintendo Switch light gray. Yeah, this one looks nice. The coral color is also not bad, but yeah, I will still prefer a gray color. But yeah, this is all you can win. If you are part of the raffle time, please go ahead, and in the end, I will thank you for all the sponsors. I think sponsors, you are the one giving those gifts, and it helps in people. Like, who doesn't like surprises? Who doesn't like an Amazon or some delivered at your home store? Oh, nice! And like, even if you're old, like, you still love something getting delivered to you, and it's a gift. Who will not love it? So, thank you, sponsors, for doing that and making us a little happy while doing it. And thank you for the collaboration, all the organizers from Community Office 365, Matt Point, Sukat, and Kampati Moss. Go ahead. And Kampati Moss also have a magazine. I always present there, publish there, and they have amazing articles. Please be part of it, and let's learn together through Microsoft 365 Madrid Virtual. And coming in the end on the video. Thank you everyone for joining in today. As I said, ask us any questions you have. Do let us know if I can be of any help in understanding Microsoft Graph connectors, and visit the tech platform. You will find me there. Chat with me. Online chat is there. You can chat with me if you have any doubts. Let's learn together and be in touch, everyone, and be safe. It's COVID times. We are still not out of it. It's gonna take some time. Let's be safer. Let's keep our loved ones much more closer to us. And thanks for watching Microsoft 365 Madrid Virtual. Bye bye.